to say, first off, thank you to the Manchesters for having the great wedding tonight, and the Daums for the dinner last night and brunch tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. What? Alright, so, surprisingly, I've known Daum since before he had chest hair. It was about when he turned 12, I think. So we kind of like all got a group and we were trying to come up with how to do a speech with 4 people. And we all kind of thought to ourselves, like, what word would we give Mad Daum? Which was probably the hardest thing ever to pin down one word. But the one I picked was undaunted. I was told unashamed had too of a negative connotation to it. So I said a lot of things change in 20 years. I've known him for that long, but not Matt Daum. Not his hair, not his wardrobe, and definitely not his personality. He's always walked to the beat of his own drum, Daum. And it's the strangest damn beat we've ever heard, but he's totally comfortable being himself, I think, and that's what I mean by undaunted. He's just, he's always been his own person, never let anybody kind of tell him how to be or what to be. And I think he's been totally comfortable being himself, and probably too comfortable at times. And I think we've all seen what I mean. And going through high school wearing only lime green every day of the week will definitely get you unique status at the high school. But Daum, he always pulled off all of his quirks, all of his weirdness, and I'm not sure how he did it. I'll probably never know, but everybody accepted him for who he was, just because he was so comfortable being him. And so I think that's why I mean we all admire Daum. Secretly, nobody's ever said that before. But just for being himself, and I think seeing Daum be Daum makes it easier to be who you are. So you're confident being yourself when you're around him. It's just easy to be around, and all you have to do is be you. So Kate, they say, never judge a book by its cover. You took that advice. And congratulations to both of you.
Just apologize in advance, Daum. When I was asked to speak in front of a group of Daum's friends and family about life when we lived in the fraternity together, I always figured it would be an intervention. So forgive me if it's a little disjointed, I'm kind of winging it right now. One of the first memories I have with Daum was his freshman year in the spring of 2006. I was looking for someone to play Super Nintendo with when I noticed a couple people fixing a stucco wall in the fraternity. Being the cool person I was back then, I put a couple more holes in the wall next to they just fixed and told them to keep working. I noticed that all of them seemed upset except for one guy who was teetering in place with a natural light in hand. He was in a neon green shirt, duct tape flip-flops, wave pants, and it was a sight I'd get used to seeing almost every day for the next 2 years. I told him that he was playing hockey with me and drinking every time I scored on him. Now, most people would get nervous, but in true Daum fashion, this turned him into him taking shots every time there was an icing, an offsides, he got bored, or he just felt like he was getting sober. Between drinks, he slurred that his name was Daum and he was from Detroit. I said, "Oh yeah, you're that Muppet-looking guy whose roommate we wanted to pledge." To which he replied, "Yeah, I didn't want to join, but couldn't pass up on the free Taco Bell and free alcohol during the semester." I had to admire his honesty. Over time, I learned more and more about him, and he soon became my closest friend in the fraternity. I think one word that sums him up pretty well would be energetic. Whether it was blasting terrible music at 7 a.m. on Friday morning, trying to put together a grill without any tools and only a jug of Carlo Rossi, or seeing how many samples he could eat at Costco on Saturdays, he always gave it 110%. He once found a clothes washer on Craigslist, talked the guy down in price because obviously it's Daum. He picked it up and managed to flood the basement all within the hour. It turns out $5 garden hoses aren't rated for high pressure, Daum. This frenetic lifestyle usually left him asleep in his computer chair at 3 p.m. with a full day behind him when most people in our house were just getting out of bed. On spring break in Mexico, he always wanted to build a higher and higher sandcastle, only to crash into it 5 minutes later with an empty Corona in his hand. He stretched the unlimited party package to the limit. No better evidence than at the Hard Rock Cafe, where he was asked to leave after he got caught sharing his free drinks with the waitstaff for about the 5th time. He was always very generous when it was free. All in all, he did and still does live life to the fullest. He was a great person to have in that animal house, and those of us who live with him are better for having him there.
So my word for Daum was determined. And that's one of those words you can throw around. You're like, what does that mean? I think a story that sums it up pretty well is the first house we moved into was this house in Somerville. And for people who know, the house was very small, the short stairwell, it was very, very tightly packed. But as we're starting to prepare to move out, Daum starts talking about the green couch. And apparently the green couch had been sitting in storage for years. And Daum apparently had a very large fascination with the couch. So he's like, we're getting it shipped up. Apparently Mom and Dad were like, I need to get this out of storage, I need to be done with Michigan, we're shipping it to Boston. So we move into this house, and the stairwell is extremely narrow, and we're like, hey, it'll be fine. And we're 21-year-old boys, we're like, should we measure? No. So eventually the couch shows up, and the mover is like, yeah, that's not gonna fit. Like, he gives it the old college try a couple times, Daum's like, come on, make it happen. The guy's like, nope, we can't do it. So at this point, most people would have gone on Craigslist, sold the couch, got beer money, and been done with it. Not Daum. Daum's on Google, Googling around, and he's like, we should get a forklift. I'm like, we're 21, we can barely steer with a steering wheel in our cars, where are we gonna get a forklift from? Next thing I know, we have a manual crank forklift in the back of the house. We've removed the windows, and we're putting the couch through the windows. And that's determination from Daum. And that same determination lives on today. When Daum is tired, and he's like, I need to go home, blames it on Kate. He's like, Kate's gotta go home. Daum.
So I'm Jamie. I met Daum 10 years ago as a freshman at Tufts University. We lived in the same dorm, and I'd like to say that we were fast friends and became best buddies right away. But we actually had a bit of a slow start. So I met him and he introduced himself at an orientation thing. He said, I'm Daum, or you can call me Lime Green Guy, because he was wearing a lime green shirt and would be for the next 4 years. So I thought his name was Dominic for a whole year. I thought his name was Matt a year later. So that's pretty bad. Screwing up someone's name can be pretty embarrassing. Fast forward 2 years later, Daum screwed up my face. He didn't know who I was. We were walking into my apartment. I lived with Ashish at the time. Daum and Ashish had started their company already. So I've seen Daum. I know who Daum is. He's walking into our apartment. I see him. I'm about to say hi, and he doesn't acknowledge me. And I think that's a little strange. What did I do? And then it dawns on me. I got a haircut, and he has no idea who I am. So we get all the way to my door before he realizes, oh, I know you, I'm coming to your apartment. So I kept my hair shaggy so there'd be no snafus today. So I hope you appreciate that. So after we finally got our names and faces straight, we really did become fast friends, and really good friends. Daum was the best man at my wedding, one of two with Ashish. So I'm honored to return half, I guess, of half of that favor. I think you chose 4 of us, so one of us would stumble into saying something nice about you. So Ashish, well, we all had a word for you, and I thought it was easy to pick a word for you. I picked fun. And it's easy to have fun at fun events, you know, at a wedding, or watching TV, or going to a bar. But Daum has fun no matter what's going on. At events that aren't supposed to be fun, Daum is having fun. If you have to clean your house, Daum will decide you should have a party, so that's how you get your house clean. If you're painting your house, Daum will get all of his painting gear, come over, have a beer, paint your house, and it'll be the best thing he does all week. If you're having roommate troubles and you have to be evicted and move out, which happened to me, Daum thinks that's great because you can come stay in his house and live with Daum for a while. Your friend needs help moving. Have a beer, let's move the furniture. Who cares if we break some of the furniture? Sorry about your coffee table, Riley. So a couple years after college, I was living down the street from Daum and Ashish with my girlfriend, now wife, Hannah, and she had to go to work Saturday morning at 6 a.m. And she wakes me up at about 5:30 and her car won't start. And I don't know how to fix it, I can't figure out what's going on, but I have the bright idea that Ashish lives nearby and he has a car. And it's 5:45 in the morning, I call him, he's a normal person, he does not answer. I call Daum, he's clearly awake, ready for the day. So he says, Ashish is there, the car's there, come over, they'll fix it, they'll get it taken care of, we'll get Hannah a car. So I'm walking towards Daum's house, and I get not that close, but I'm approaching and I hear music blaring. And I think that's kind of strange. Daum had decided that he would crank music at full blast, open all the windows in the house, and I hear God Bless the USA flying from many houses down. He wakes up everyone in the house, wakes up all the neighbors, I'm sure. But we get Hannah a car, and Daum has decided it's going to be a fun day. I don't care if your car's broken. Have a beer. We're going to enjoy the day. No one's going back to sleep. So, fast forward again to when Daum met Kate. I'd like to say that Daum's done a lot of maturing and growing up since then, but I think we've determined Daum's Daum no matter what. He's never changing, so you're stuck with him as he is. But both of you guys have been really great friends to me. You've even made Daum tolerate my dog, and I think like him a little bit. He hasn't threatened to cook him in maybe a year or two, so that's a big plus. But coming over to your place is just easy, relaxing. You guys will give you a drink, cook you the best meal you've ever had, like it's no big deal. So I don't know how you convinced Daum, how Daum convinced Kate to stick around. You're way too perfect for him, but we're very happy you did. So if we could all raise our glasses. So we'd like to just wish you guys all the best and say that throughout your marriage, we hope you both will remain undaunted, energetic, determined, and fun. Cheers.
Give it up for the best man, ladies and gentlemen. Great Steve Rashid and Tom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the speeches there.